This is the Mosen Mortgage Program with Sarah Mosen. Mosen Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550. And now, here's your host, Sarah Mosen.
Hey, folks, it's great to be back here again in the studio, and I've had such a wonderful time here with you, Carol. Can't ask for more.
It's kind of a rocking place to be, isn't it?
It truly is. And it's quite the experience. It's all good, I have to say.
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
It's wonderful.
Well, people should stop by. If we have ROL and Easy E listeners who've never been to a radio station or have never experienced what it's like to be close up to radio people, you really should come and check us out at Marina Bay in Quincy. It's a lot of fun.
And it's beautiful here as well.
Yes, it is.
As we've been talking over the past couple of weeks and months, one of the big things that I really look at are the facts, the numbers, and it always amazes me. When you look at statistics, they're saying about 77% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck.
That many?
That many.
Oh, I wouldn't have thought that. Wow.
And it really has increased over time because of the economy. Believe it or not, it was one of the lowest numbers in 2007, which was 43%. Now we're at 77%.
Just in that brief span of years, in 5 years, it's changed that much.
And it's really because you look at unemployment rates being that high. Obviously, you're moving from two incomes to one income.
Right. Changes
things dramatically.
Yes, it does.
And then with most households having credit cards up to $8,000 to $10,000, it becomes very difficult to not only maintain a minimum payment on a credit card, and if you have moved from a two income to a one income, so kids moving back home because they can't find jobs, you know, baby boomers retiring, even your parents are moving into your home, so you're getting it from both sides.
Yes, that's right. I guess the paycheck to paycheck thing probably is hard to break because you're always trying to catch up. You're just playing catch up week to week to week and saying, well, can we rob Peter to pay Paul this week? And
exactly.
How do you get out of that? How do you break that cycle? Because it would seem like just it would perpetuate itself month to month. It would just get worse, not better.
It's very interesting in respect to what people are going through. And I have to say that each person has different situations that they're going through, whether they've lost a job or they are working and their income has been cut back or they have family moving back in. One of the greatest things that I love doing is to be able to have that conversation with you to see what is going on, because not only do we have a company that I am a part of, but my biggest joy really is to be on radio and be able to share information and get to the bottom of how your spending habits are. And sometimes it's just your spending habits and you don't realize. I've had folks who've said, I only have 4 credit cards. Then you pull their credit and they have 14.
Yes.
And that's fine. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, you do lose track of them sometimes. Right. Like the ones that you signed up for in order to save 15% on your purchase today or whatever. They sit around in the tool drawer and whatever.
Right. And that's fine. It's just understanding where you are. Because if you don't know where you are, then it's sort of walking around without a compass, and you're going to be lost for days, years, forever. Yeah. And maybe you don't need to be drowning in debt. Maybe you don't need to be paycheck to paycheck, because a lot of folks don't even realize that they have a lot of equity in their property. And then often enough, the philosophy of thought is, why should I refinance my home? I'm trying to pay it off, which is fine.
Right.
But it is a tax benefit to have a mortgage. Right. And if you are trying to pay off your mortgage, you can still cut your rate. You can still go down to a 10-year or a 15-year if you're on a 20-year, and you have a rate that's going to be 3%.
Right.
So,
and hopefully more of your payment then each month is going toward the principal and not the interest. Yeah.
And you still maintain that tax benefit of owning a home, not paying additional in interest, because right now your percentage on interest is higher. In the last 2 years, rates have gone down dramatically. If you refinanced 3 years ago, you need to talk to us to see how much you are actually giving away each month on your mortgage statement.
Yes.
Because it is definitely $200 to $300 more.
Wow. Well, while the rates are at this stage, things are going to come up a little bit, maybe go down a little bit, but it's always good to review where you are, as Sarah has just said. So we're asking our listeners, if you are feeling like there are places where you could be saving a little more money, especially from your mortgage payment every month, give Sarah a call, 800-662-9550, and maybe with just a little bit of restructuring and a little bit of, repositioning your head even around your money each month, you could break that cycle of going paycheck to paycheck. Make sure that your bills are paid. Make sure that you have a good line of credit established, good trade lines open, unnecessary ones rather closed. And these are things that aren't that hard to do, are they, Sarah?
They're not hard to do. I think that it's just a question of sitting down and getting an idea of where you are. Yeah. Because if you really don't know where you stand financially, then you're really never going to get out of that current situation. And it's a lot more than just saying, well, I think I need to pay off these credit cards and I don't have enough income, so I'm just going to continue making minimum payments. Right. There are many other factors, because when you pull credit, you can see certain things that may be outstanding or they may not be outstanding. You said it yourself. Your last name was Smith. You probably have your name.
It's a sitting duck, right?
It is.
That name,
wow.
Yes.
With that kind of name, you can literally have many scenarios where there is error with your credit report, where you have another Smith that might be tied in to your credit report that may have actually had a lien or a judgment, and it's not even yours.
That's right. And I think, too, there again, it's just unawareness. Nobody's trying to be hostile or trying to stick it to you or anything. It's just these things happen. But when they do, it's important to get really good advice. And advice that pertains just to your situation, too, because nobody's situation is like your next door neighbor's. Please give Sarah a call at Mosen Mortgage Corporation, 800-662-9550. And you might find yourself actually having to confess to a few things. Now, that's okay, because Sarah can handle it. And if you've made some mistakes in the past, everybody has. And if you've gotten yourself into some credit situations that you'd rather not be in, there's hope. It's fixable. And Sarah can walk you through it and talk you through it. And then what a relief for you to have those things behind you. Now, as home prices are coming and going up and down all over the country, are there cities that are doing particularly better home price-wise? Right?
There are. Yeah. And here's the thing. One of the things with the market here in Massachusetts is there are certain areas that have certainly gone down in value. But I have to say, here are the things that are important for buyers, sellers. This is now a market where if you are looking to buy, it is the time to buy, because firstly, you're going to end up paying a lot less than what you would in the next 2 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And then you can actually put down 3.5% instead of 5% or 10% down. Most banks, 20%. And for folks that are looking to just be in that property and are looking to move in 5 years, you can still look at refinancing and still look at the savings, the long-term savings.
Right.
And take equity out. Because what people don't realize is that, I'm going to actually end up leaving in 5 years. Why should I bother refinancing?
Right.
Well, I'm an investor. I look at long-term gain. And if you have a lot of equity in your property and it's just sitting there, now is the time to take equity out and invest.
Okay.
The market's amazing. I'm not a financial advisor, but I love the concept of money. It's not about, it's all about the money factor. It's how it works. Like stocks like Ren, which is the Facebook for China.
Yeah.
Now, Facebook here is going public
right.
in less than a month.
Right.
That's going to directly impact Facebook in China.
Right.
And you see the stock going up. It was a $5 stock. It's a $7 stock now.
Right. That's
not a risky investment. That's not like paying $500 for an Apple stock.
No.
That's the fun part of money, because
right.
you can put in $100 into E-Trade.
Yeah.
And you can maybe end up making a couple of $1,000. That's fun, Carol. You and I know that. That's what we love.
I'm in. Where
do you know what I
mean? Yeah.
And,
no, I do. And like you say, just having that option, being able to be free from the paycheck to paycheck treadmill and having the option to actually do something with the money that would be going otherwise to a mortgage principal or to paying off the interest rate on, mortgage interest, or paying off the interest on a credit card. Oh, I just hate to think of money going towards interest pay. You know, that just kills me because you got nothing to show for it.
You don't. And even if you're looking at consolidating your debt, the first thing you do is, and I say to folks, you were in this situation because you didn't have an emergency fund, so you went to the credit cards. So when you're refinancing, you take equity out, you pay the credit cards off, and you have $10,000 in reserves and put it away in an emergency fund. And after that, everything that you were writing out checks to for your credit cards, because you no longer have them because we refinanced you, and that $400 that you were giving, put it in an ING account.
Yeah.
As if you never had it.
Right.
And pretend that you still have those credit card bills, but now it's going into your retirement fund.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And
it's not that hard to do. Sarah will talk you through these questions and answers. If you give her a call, 800-662-9550, and she will be around this weekend. So if you find it easier to talk to your spouse or the other people about which, your money has to do, you can certainly talk together and then call on the weekend. Sarah will be there for you. 800-662-9550. In our area of New England, Sarah, we doing pretty well on house prices? I mean, is it...
We are. And I'll tell you what, here you can reach out to realtors that we work with, and we can certainly assign you some great people that will show you homes. And it certainly doesn't have to be a $300,000 property. You can still find good homes around $200,000 or even $150,000, because there are areas which are soft markets, and you can still get a lot of value.
Right.
Unfortunately, others have suffered. Therefore, they've had to sell or lose their homes based on these great values that are out there for people who are first-time home buyers or even investment properties.
Yes. Well, it's nice to know that you can recommend local people as realtors, because there again, it's a little scary when you go out there. It seems like everybody has a real estate license.
I know, it's true, except me.
Well, but I find that a lot of moms, this is their job that they get after the kids are in school. At least part of the day, they go and get their real estate licenses. So you could really, you could pick anybody off the street, really. They tell you they have a license.
It's true. It is. And the other thing is that we've worked with this real estate company for a very long time, and our listeners have very much enjoyed their services. And that is what's important, that we can actually refer a good company. We get nothing out of it outside of the fact that we found someone or a service provider that can work with our listeners. Because the number one thing that we want to make sure, because I so feel blessed with our listeners, is to make sure that they're taken care of. And finding your home, now your first home, that's huge. I mean, it is the biggest purchase you're ever going to make outside of sending your kids to college. And we'll talk about that later, Carol. Yes. But it is truly, it's truly the biggest investment. And you want to make sure it's the right area. And if you're going to have kids, it's the right school district. Does it have in relation to foreclosures, whether, there's some wacky neighbors. All of that stuff affects the value of your property and resale value.
Well, and speaking of wacky, we'll be back tomorrow at the same time with a special guest. Thanks, Sarah.
Sounds good. Stay well, folks.
This has been the Mosen Mortgage Program with Sarah Mosen. Mosen Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550.